before finally getting back to that J-Tom, where I had learned she loved me. Now, I'm sure what you're saying, Stanky, this doesn't make sense. This video was titled The Friend Zone. That has got to be a W, right? That has got to be a W. Be a W. W. Right? Spoiler alert, it wasn't. This video is a continuation of last week's story, so if you haven't seen that video yet, go watch that first. That way you can get all the juicy details. Don't worry, I'll wait. I'm not gonna wait. I just really wanted that guy gone. So there I am, feeling like Billie Eilish, getting everything I wanted. But as the old saying goes, I'd end up losing everything I had. At the time, though, you couldn't take me off the cloud I was floating on. I finally thought all the stars were aligning for your boy, that the friendship we had would begin to blossom into the world's most beautiful love, that scholars would look back one day and go, wow, I will never be as lucky as that guy. But that would never even begin to happen. See, Daisy and I were great friends, but honestly, we only had about 2 things in common. So things never would have worked out the way that I had imagined them, but I was 13 at the time, and 13-year-olds don't understand that the world isn't so simple. But I'll touch on that more later, cause first, I need to tell you how it all went wrong. After the revelations that Daisy and I had, nothing really changed that much. We were still just being best friends, but with the thought in the back of our minds that, hey, maybe one day this could change. And boy, did it! Here's the problem with getting to know somebody too well. You can always immediately tell when something's up. When the vibe shifts, when the stars begin to move out of the line that had you hype in the first place. And that would come for me in late December. I had started to notice that things were off between Daisy and I. Things were more distant, awkward, colder, in a way that I'd never seen her treat anybody before. And in true teen fashion, I would decide to go directly around the person I was having problems with and instead ask one of my closest friends, who was also mutuals with Daisy at the time. I asked him if he knew something was up. And this is where things get real jacked up. On Christmas Eve, mother flippin' Christmas Eve of all days, I texted him, hey, yo, Daisy's being really weird with me. Do you happen to know if something's going on? Side note, this is how you know you're about to get some bad news. If you ever text somebody something and moments later, like before you could even blink, they call you, pack it up, boys. It's over. GG's. Whatever you just asked about is absolutely the worst case scenario. And that's exactly what it was for me. Here's a fun fact about me. Whenever I get sad, I don't really cry, I don't really sulk, I don't even really show my overall bumness. But I always, and I mean always, completely lose any appetite I had on the spot. And I hold this uncanny ability to only get bad news right as I'm about to eat. Whataburger used to have this absolutely delicious A1 thick and hearty burger. And I mean, this thing was amazing. I used to eat it all of the time. And that Christmas Eve night, I had just gotten one of those burgers as I was texting my friend about this information that I thought I had wanted to know. Which takes me back to where I was, because right as I was about to bite into this thick, meaty burger, my phone rings. And my friend would unveil to me that Daisy didn't like me anymore. But not only that, she hadn't for about 2 months. And she had told him that she planned to tell me, but obviously never got to it. Now I'm sure you're thinking, wait, so a good friend of yours had information for 2 months that a girl you were madly infatuated with didn't like you anymore and he never told you? Yeah. I still drag him for that till this day. But after hearing that, I was crushed. Absolutely destroyed. Like, you know those moments in anime when the main character gets shut down and everything goes black and white and he's frozen and he just gets stuck by all the insults and pains that he's feeling? Yeah, that was me. And the worst part about it all is I had to look down at my burger and just start punching the air, man, because I couldn't even eat that mess. Christmas would pass and I'd spend it hurt, but I couldn't quite bring myself to confront Daisy about the things I had heard. Till about a week or so later when we finally had a conversation and we talked about everything. She had told me that she had fallen for one of her other friend's older brothers and couldn't bring herself to hurt me, so she just couldn't tell me. And the worst part about it all is that had she just told me, I would have understood. I mean, I was an idiot, but I wasn't entirely foolish. Besides, we had only ever really been friends for forever, so what really would have been the difference? This moment would not only change our what could have been relationship, it put a giant rift between us and our friendship would never be the same. There was a certain amount of trust that had been erased and coupled that with the ever-changing mind of growing teens, so things weren't looking very good. The distance would just keep growing between us until we didn't really talk anymore. Yes, excuse me. I'm sorry. That's really how the story ends. Everything just goes up in flames and then you move on. That's the real big two-part story. That's why this video had to be 2 things. Come on, seriously? Really? Come on, please. Okay, first off, one, who are you? And two, no, I'm not done yet. Can you let me finish? God. We wouldn't talk for almost the entirety of the 9th grade until one day we just did. Like I said, we were best friends for a long time, so we always cared a lot about each other. I'd always kept tabs from afar, and we still did have a lot of mutual friends, so it was kind of hard not to. She was going through a phase where she shaved half her head and kind of looked like Skrillex and was just doing a lot of stuff that I didn't really agree with, so we would be on again, off again friends, but never really as close as we were. And in all honesty, I don't even remember what made us stop talking this time, but if I had to take a guess, it's probably that Daisy and I were really just different. Earlier I said that Daisy and I didn't really have a lot in common, but that was an understatement. We were polar opposites, with really the only thing we had in common being the fact that we cared for each other. So once you lose that, there really isn't a need to be friends anymore, and I think we just kind of both realized that separately. So I never really knew why things didn't go well between us or what stopped us from trying, but hey, that's the friend zone, right? You get stuck and there's no way to escape. Or that's what I would have said if not for the random day in high school where she drunk called me after drinking sake with her family. So after years of never really knowing why she cast your boy aside, she unveiled everything to me. And to her credit, as much as I hated the reasons, they were real. It went a little something like this. She loved me, but she also loved our friendship. And she knew at the time she would never really take any relationship like that seriously. So she'd never try to date me because she knew she'd break my heart and she couldn't do that to somebody she truly cared for. She also sold seashells by the seashore. I've been trying to get that take for like 30 minutes. I'm giving up. It's just going in the video at this point. So basically, she loved me so much that she couldn't love me. Yeah, I didn't really understand it either. That conversation would end with her telling me, I've loved you and I always will. Also, my floor kind of looks like macaroni. And those would be some of the final words I'd ever hear from Daisy, as that would be the conversation to end that arc in the anime that is my life. That would be until that semi-happy ending would burn in flames years later. But that's a story for another time, but not the story for next week. I'm not part 3ing this. We're going to save that one for later. So morals of the story. Sometimes it's okay to just have a friend. Good ones are rare and they're not worth losing. Sometimes it's okay to take a risk. Love is a crazy thing and you'll never really know what could have happened if you don't try. And most importantly, spicy food is freaking disgusting and don't you at me. But that's actually a story for another time. Thank you so much for watching this video. I know things got a little bit deep there, but hey, that's life. I am super enjoying making these videos and telling these stories, so if you're liking them, please like, please comment, please share with everybody that you know. And on that note, I'm out. I'll see y'all next week.